All right. So what are unary operators in Java? Unary operators are operators that work with a single operand to perform operations such as incrementing, decrementing, negation, or logical complement. So let's see the list of unary operators that Java supports. So these are the list of unary operators that Java supports. Okay, so there are total 6 unary operators. So let's start with plus, which is also called unary plus, and this is an optional operand. So say for example, if you have a variable a is equal to 5, okay, and if you use plus a, it will hardly make any difference because 5 and plus 5 basically both are same. So this is optional. Coming to minus, so this is called unary minus, and it is also called negation. So what it will do is this will just negate the value. So say for example, let's consider the value of a is equal to 5, and if we make minus a, the effective value would be minus 5. Third is plus plus, which is the increment operator. So what it will do is it will increase the value of a given variable by 1. Okay, so this is basically post increment and this is pre increment. So we'll figure out the difference between post increment and pre increment when we see example of these. At a high level, this increment operator increases the value by 1. Then we have minus minus, similar to increment operator. This is like the decrement operator, which, as the name suggests, it will decrease the value by 1. And here also, like we have post decrement and pre decrement. Then is the logical not, which is marked by the exclamation sign. So logical not is basically applicable on the Boolean variable. So what it will do is it will just invert a Boolean value. So suppose you have a Boolean variable a equal to true, and if you use not of a, it will basically make it false. It will not change the value of a, but if you use this as a whole, so this effectively means false. Okay, and the last one is bitwise complement, which has this sign, and what it will do is it will invert the bits if you add this in front of the variable. So let's see an example of this. So this is called as like bitwise complement. Suppose you have a variable int x is equal to 5. So since it's a 32-bit integer, we know that Java takes 32 bits of memory for storing an integer value. So its binary representation would be this. And now if you create another variable int y, which is like the complement of x, so what it will do is it will do the 2's complement representation. Okay, so it will basically reverse all the binary digit that we had in the x variable. So all the zeros would be replaced by 1 and all the ones would be replaced by 0. That is your 2's complement. And if you print the value of y, it will print minus 6 because this binary value, if you convert it into integer, it will be equivalent to minus 6. So this bitwise complement operator is rarely used in our day-to-day programming, but yeah, at a high level, we should know like what it does. Now let's see the example of each of these unary operators. All right. So in this example, we have an integer variable a equal to 5. And then we have another integer variable b equal to minus 10. And then we have third variable, which is of Boolean type flag. And we have initialized its value as true. Okay. So first of all, what we are doing is we are printing the initial values, and it will print a is equal to 5, b is equal to minus 10, and flag is basically true. Okay. Now let's see the unary plus example. Now what we are doing is we are adding unary plus in front of a and we are printing its value. So basically, as we saw that this unary plus is optional, so it should not create any difference. So when we print unary plus, it should ideally print 5 only. So let's run this program first. So there you go. Initial values are a is equal to 5, b is equal to minus 10, flag is true, and then the unary plus value, which is like plus a, it is printing 5. Okay. Coming to unary minus, so what it will do is it will just negate the value. So since value of a is 5, it should print unary minus a is equal to minus 5. Then is pre-increment. Okay, so pre-increment, what it will do is it will just increment the value of a by 1. Okay, so if we print pre-increment plus a, so it should print 6. And post increment also, we discussed that it increments the value by 1. But the only difference between pre-increment and post increment is that post increment increments by 1 in the next step, basically. So if we use a plus plus, and if we print the value of a plus plus in the same line, so basically what it will do is it will print the current value, not the incremented value. Okay, so say for example, we saw that value of a is 6 by this step. So if we print a plus plus here, so it should not print 7, it will print 6 only, because we are incrementing and printing the value in the same step. Okay, so it will not increment in this step, so it will just print 6. But if we print the value after this step, so here it will print 7. Okay, so this is the difference between pre-increment and post-increment. That in pre-increment, it will increment the value first, and then when we use it, it will show the incremented value. However, in the post-increment, it will print the same value. It will not print the incremented value. And if we print the value in the next step after post-increment, so in that case, it will print the incremented value. Okay, so it should print a is equal to 7. So let's run for unary minus, pre-increment, and post-increment. So you can see that unary minus is just the negation. Pre-increment is just incrementing the value by 1. Post-increment doesn't increment because we are calling it in the same step. However, if we call the post-incremented value in the next step, as we can see in line 21, so basically what it will do is it will print the incremented value, which is 7, as you can see here. Similarly, pre-decrement and post-decrement also works in this similar fashion. So if we print here, since we know the value of a is 7 till this step, so if we are using a pre-decrement, it should print 6. And if we are using post-decrement, so at this stage, it should print 6. But if we print after this step, it should print 5. So let's see. You can see that using pre-decrement, it decremented the value of 7 to 6. And then when we use post decrement, it is still 6. But after the post decrement step, it changed the value to 5. So moving on to not operator, since we know that the value of flag variable we initialize with true. So if we are printing not of flag, so it should print false. So you can see that logical not of flag is false. And last is the bitwise complement. So the bitwise complement of minus 10 is 9 if you convert it into binaries, and if you do the 2's complement, so you'll see that the bitwise complement of minus 10 comes out to be 9. You can see that in the console, bitwise complement of B is 9. So I hope all the unary operators are clear to you. Do subscribe my channel, Code Ryder. Thanks for watching.